Welcome to our continuing series, Questions and Answers for a World in Crisis, from the words of Sri Aurobindo and the Mother. Adverse Forces, Part 1. From the Mother. When the adverse forces want to attack those who are around me, and when they do not succeed in making them openly hostile to Sri Aurobindo's work, or in turning them against me personally, they proceed in the matter always in the same way, with the same argument. You may have all the inner realizations you like, they say. The most beautiful experiences possible within the four walls of the ashram. But on the outer plane, your life is spoiled, wasted. There is an abyss that you will never fill between the inner experience and the concrete realization in the world. This is the number one argument of the adverse forces. I know it. For millions of years, I have heard the same thing repeated, and each time I have unmasked it. It is a falsehood. It is the falsehood. Everything that tends to establish a divorce between earth and the spirit is good for them. Everything that separates the inner experience from the divine realization in the world. But it is the contrary that is true. It is the inner realization that is the key to the outer realization. How can you expect to know the true thing which you have to realize in the world, so long as you do not possess the truth of your being? I have noticed one thing, that in at least 99 cases out of 100, this attack by adverse forces is an excuse which people give to themselves. I have seen that practically almost all who write to me, I am violently attacked by adverse forces, give this as an excuse. It is because there are many things in their nature which do not want to surrender. So they put all the blame on the adverse forces. In reality, I am turning more and more towards something where the role of the adverse forces will be reduced to that of an examiner. That is to say, they are there to test the sincerity of your spiritual seeking. These things have their reality in the action and for the work, and it is a great reality. But when you have gone beyond a certain region, all that reaches a point where it is no longer so distinct and clear-cut. In the occult world, or rather, if you look at the world from the occult point of view, these adverse forces are very real. Their action is very real, completely concrete. And their attitude towards the divine realization is positively hostile. But as soon as you pass beyond this domain and enter into the spiritual world, where there is nothing other than the divine, who is everything, and where there is nothing that is not divine, these adverse forces become a part of the total play, and they can no longer be called adverse forces. It is only a posture that they have taken. To speak more exactly, it is only a posture that the divine has taken in his play. It was like a memory. Questioned about the meaning of these words, Mother said, "The state I was in was like a memory, an eternally present memory of that consciousness of supreme love emanated by the Lord onto earth, into earth, to draw it back again to him. And truly, it was the descent of the very essence of the divine nature into the most total divine negation, and thus the abandonment of the divine condition to take on terrestrial darkness, so as to bring earth back to the divine state. And unless that supreme love becomes all-powerfully conscious here on earth, the return can never be definitive. It came after the vision of the great divine becoming. See Conversation of January 12, 1962. Quote, "Since this world is progressive, I was wondering, since it is increasingly becoming the divine, won't there always be this deeply painful sense of the non-divine, of the state that, compared with the one to come, is not divine? Won't there always be what we call adverse forces? In other words, things that don't harmoniously follow the movement?" Then came the answer, the vision of that. No, the moment of this very possibility is drawing near. The moment for the manifestation of the essence of perfect love, which can transform this unconsciousness, this ignorance, and this ill will that goes with it into a luminous and joyous progression, wholly progressive, wholly comprehensive, thirsting for perfection. It was very concrete,